So why does a woman act hot and cold towards you? Why does she send mixed signals? What does it mean? And how should you handle it? That's what we're gonna cover in this video. Hi, I'm Bobby Rio, and maybe like a lot of guys, you're dealing with a woman right now who's really hard to figure out. You're constantly analyzing her behavior. You're looking at all the clues. Does she like you? Doesn't she like you? I've been there with the sheet of paper, right? And the two columns, one filled with everything she's doing or saying that tells me she likes me, the other column with things like canceled plans or didn't text me back for 2 days or caught her staring at the bartender. And you can go crazy analyzing her behavior. I've coached guys who've literally come to me with a timeline of evidence mapped out like they're trying to solve a case. And in a way we kind of are. But here's the number one reason it's a complete waste of time to analyze a woman's behavior. And it's very simple. 99% of the time, she doesn't even fully know why she's acting the way she is or how she really feels about you. If she's sending you mixed signals, it's because she doesn't know what she feels. So it's a way of keeping you interested while she figures it out. Now, when you're going through this and when you're getting this type of behavior from a woman, you cannot come at it logically because you'll never change her mind or get what you want from her if you try to logically win her over. So you don't try to change a woman's mind, you change her mood. So what does this mean? Well, I work with clients who, when a girl's acting this way, their first impulse is to talk it over with her, to ask her what she wants, to have, the conversation. You want to be like, listen, just tell me if I'm wasting my time or what's the deal and the thing is, right, I get it. As guys, we hate what I call the gray area. The gray area is that uncertainty. It's the not knowing. It's the am I wasting my time? Or you wonder if you're like the chump, the guy who can't take a hint. It's like maybe I'm an idiot and she's like laying in bed with some other dude reading my texts, like laughing about them with him. But of course, it never fails, what do they call it, Murphy's Law, that just when you're like, screw it, I'm walking away, she sends you a selfie or something and you're like, what's going on? Well, one thing you gotta realize is that women don't have nearly the aversion to the gray area that we do. In fact, they need it in a lot of ways. It provides the tension that keeps her attention on you. I talk about this in another video of mine on my channel, The Tension Secret, and I really recommend watching it if you haven't already. But the reality is, the minute you try too hard to clear things up, to figure out where you stand with her, you wind up eliminating the tension that was necessary for her to develop strong feelings towards you. Now, being in limbo with a girl is the absolute worst because it sends you into something that I call emotional quicksand, where it gets to the point that this girl is all you can think about, it's all you can talk about, and you're putting other areas of your life basically on hold, waiting for her to figure out what she wants. And the big problem with emotional quicksand is you never make the right move when you're in this state of mind. I explain it like there's this inexperienced virgin whispering crappy advice in your ear. Text her again, maybe her phone is broke. Tell her you love her, but it's only just been 2 weeks. Just tell her, right? And a lot of guys laugh and go, yeah, right, I'd never do that. But trust me, we've been coaching guys for over 15 years now, and the mistakes guys have made already when they come to us is even shocking to me sometimes, and I've seen it all. But when you're in this state of emotional quicksand, and we've all been there, you'll convince yourself to send her the flowers or to write the heartfelt email or to buy her a gift. Like that's what's gonna finally tip that scale in your favor. Or this voice in our head causes us to act extremely, extremely needy, where we just need to get to the bottom of it, right? And you're with her and you just can't help yourself from saying, did I do something wrong? Is something bothering you? Do you like me? What's going on? But all of that just pushes her away. See, here's what's going on with her. Here's why you're most likely getting these mixed signals. And it comes down to 3 things, okay? The first is that women take longer to fall in love. There's been all kinds of studies on this, and they almost always find that men fall in love faster, reveal their feelings faster, decide that she's the one faster, which kind of goes against the stereotype that women are more emotional and romantic in relationships, but this is just the way it is. Now, from an evolutionary perspective, this kind of makes sense because women need to be a bit more cautious when it comes to falling in love because they bear greater risk. They have pregnancy, they have ruining her reputation, they have choosing a loser who can't provide for her or protect her in the jungle. So a lot of time what her hot and cold behavior is signaling is that you need to slow things down. Not end things, but you need to slow down your interest level a bit and give her time to catch up. Again, we all know women are confusing, so it's easy to be like, well, she texts me 5 times a day and she sends me good night texts before bed every night, and I'm just doing what she's doing, right? Like, why is it okay if she does it? Well, what I always say is that as a man, it's your job to set the pace and slow her down. If she's moving fast in the beginning, don't always follow her lead, because even though she was the one initially, moving things fast, at some point she's gonna think this is moving too fast, and she's not gonna blame herself. She's gonna blame you. She's gonna feel a resentment towards you or a hesitation towards you, and she's gonna put the brakes on. So you have to proactively slow her down. Okay, so the second thing to keep in mind, women are constantly testing us. It's programmed into them. And when she's not sure about her feelings, these tests will increase. You'll notice her making, kind of stupid comments, even saying slightly insulting things, or things that when you read between the lines, they display a little bit of disrespect towards you. Or she might cancel plans or forget to text you back, or just become more flaky in her behavior. And the mistake that too many guys make when this starts happening is they double down on their interest. If her schedule gets busy, the guy's calendar gets super open to accommodate her availability. Whenever you reward her bad behavior, you're failing her test. I've been writing a new book called The Invisible Game, and one of the things that I spent a lot of time covering in this book is how almost all the tests a woman throw at you, every single one of them, are all designed to uncover one specific thing. How easily can she tame or control you? How quickly will you deviate from your masculinity to appease her? And it's very hard for a woman to ever let herself become attached to a man that she sees as weak or easily controlled. And one of the easiest ways to appear weak and to lose her respect is to reward her bad behavior. Now, I've been doing this a long time, and I understand the fear that's likely going through your mind here. It already feels like, you're hanging on by a thread. So if you don't clear your calendar for her, you might never get to see her again. Or if you call her out on her bullshit, you're scared that that thread might snap and you'll lose her for good. But that's part of the test, right? You have to kind of realize that that's part of the test. Are you willing to walk away? Not tell her you're walking away, not threaten to walk away, but do your actions, your attitudes, your behavior. Do these things demonstrate to her a willingness to walk away? I'll give you an example. I was out once with a girl that I had been seeing for maybe a month or so, and something was up, right? It was very noticeable. Something had been up probably for a couple weeks at that point. And we're out, and she's just not putting any effort into the conversation. We've all experienced it where it's like pulling teeth, and she seems distracted, and I just know something's up, right? And she's making a few comments that they're not insulting, but I guess the way I would describe them is like unnecessary, right? She's saying unnecessary stuff. Like, it's obvious that she's poking me a little bit, probably looking for me to say something so she can blame me for ending things, right? Maybe if I get mad, she can go, oh, you're too controlling. I would give her an excuse to end things. So I sense all of this, and I very calmly, I call the waiter over and I go, hey, can we get the check? And I say to her, this isn't fun tonight. If you're in a mood or whatever, that's cool. Hit me up when you're feeling better, right? And she kind of tried to protest, but I paid the check. I wrapped things up. Now, to be clear, right, I was not mean about this at all. I didn't act hurt. I didn't act sad. I didn't act angry. I didn't even really make a big deal about it. It was more of a something's off, let's do this another time. But the underlying message was, I won't tolerate this, and if this is how you're gonna act, I'll just walk away. Here's the deal. There's always a chance that she will walk away, and that's okay. It's way better to end things with your dignity intact than to chase after her and play this stupid game for 6 months when she's stringing you along. But in this situation, a few days later, she actually reached out and she apologized, and she invited me over to her place to cook dinner for me. What I'm about to say might get me in a little bit of trouble, and I can already imagine like somebody taking this clip, sharing it out of context, but sometimes women are like little kids, and you gotta treat her that way. See, she's gonna see what she can get away with, and she respects you a whole lot more when you put your foot down, when you set a boundary that she can't cross, okay? So here's the third thing you gotta keep in mind. Her attraction fluctuates, and this is kind of something that's a little harder for guys to wrap their mind around, because we are very visual. We are, our attraction, if we want to admit it or not, a large percentage of our attraction to a woman comes down to our physical attraction towards her. If we find her really, really hot and sexy and beautiful, there's not much she can do in the short term. Eventually if she's batshit crazy or just a complete bitch, it'll turn us off. But for women, it's a little bit different, right? For a woman, it's your behavior, it's your attitude. It's like you're seeing your strength, seeing your weakness, seeing what she can, all these things cause her attraction level towards you to fluctuate by the day, sometimes by the hour. And you want to imagine that like there's a thermostat, and 100 degrees is hot and 30 degrees is cold. Now, if you're not doing things to actively keep her interested and attracted to you, that thermostat's going to drop. Now, is that fair? Well, the way that I look at it is, again, not that men are so superficial that all we care about is looks. Obviously, we want the girl to be someone we get along with. We want all these other qualities in her. But the reality is that if that same girl gained, 25 pounds overnight, our attraction might drop. Well, for her, if you come across really weak or really needy in a moment, that attraction is going to drop. You just have to accept it. You can't be mad about it or blame her or think that it's unfair. You just have to accept it, that her attraction is fluctuating. And it especially drops if she senses that maybe you're not as cool or interested interesting as she first thought that you were. Now, if you've ever met a woman, and I, as an introvert, this happened to me a lot back in the day, right? Where there's just some days you're feeling on and you just know that for whatever reason, it's like you're charming and you're funny and you're flirty and you just have this sort of confidence that maybe you don't always have. And then you hang out with her again, maybe a few more times, and now maybe you're a little more insecure than you were that first night. A lot of times this happens because once we realize like we like her, we start acting differently. Or this used to happen to me years ago also when I was first working on improving my game and I'd go out and I'd learn different techniques and I'd try out these things that I learned with her, little techniques and stuff, and it would work super good, right? I'd be using this flirty material and I'd tell her these stories and these lines and I'd get this really strong attraction. But what would happen is then I'd go out on a date with her and now I have to fill 2 hours of conversation. And that fun guy that I was in a small dose is now reverting into interview mode and I'm asking her the same boring questions every other guy has asked her. So when this happens, her initial attraction drops. Now, one thing I do want to kind of call out and recommend, if you're having issues on dates, I do want to recommend something very quickly. My friend John has something called the first date formula where he maps out exactly how to spike her interest, move things physical, and leave the date with her wanting more. And for my viewers, he's doing something super cool. The course normally costs $47, but he's allowing you to download it for whatever price you want. Basically pay whatever you want, $1 if that's what you have or that's all you can afford, right? I'd grab it if I were you. I'm gonna put a link to that below. But so now I'll tell you a few things that you can do though to actively increase a woman's attraction and her interest level. But first, here's a fact. When a woman is fully into you, it's crystal clear, okay? She makes time, she hangs out, she clears her calendar to be with you. It doesn't matter if she has to get up early for work, she'll sleep over if she's tired after work, she drinks a cup of coffee and she meets up with you. On the other hand, if she seems interested, but she's wishy-washy when you try to get her to meet up, or when you hang out with her, she's not fully invested, or she uses, having to get up early as an excuse to go home, it's because her attraction level just isn't high enough. And when I'm working with a client, sometimes it's kind of hard to be the, kill the messenger when I have to be the one to say, listen, man, when a girl likes you, she will drive, 2 hours in a snowstorm to hang out with you. If she's not coming over because, she's got a meeting in the morning, she just doesn't have that strong level of attraction towards you. If her attraction was high enough, she would be there. This is why what the average guy does never works, right? You don't increase her attraction by having a serious conversation with her or giving her a gift or confessing your feelings or any other things that we mistakenly do. So how do you handle these mixed signals, okay? First off, you have to regain her attention. If she's not super eager to hang out, it's because you don't have enough of her attention anymore. So the formula is that attention equals attraction and value equals attention. What does it mean? It means we pay attention to something that we place value on. So you have to do things that increase your value in her eyes. Let's imagine this from your point of view. As a guy, we place a lot of value, like I said a little bit earlier, on a woman's look, right? Let's just be honest, we do. So if a girl wanted to get our attention again by raising her value, she might dress sexier, she might look hotter, she might get closer to us, touch us more, right? She might go dancing and dance sexy and do things that kind of capture our attention by increasing her value. And a lot of times that would be enough to rope us back in. Well, women don't value looks nearly as much as you do. So like a lot of times I know that when I was in this situation and a girl, I have an ex-girlfriend or a girl was pulling away, I'd be like, I'm gonna put on my best shirt and I'm gonna go and get a haircut and I'm gonna meet up with her. And that's not gonna do much for you, right? Because women don't value looks nearly as much as men do. Now, you obviously wanna look your best, but you have to realize that that's not going to increase your value to the point where you get more of her attention. Sure, if a woman, finds guys in suits sexy and she's never seen you in a suit and you post a picture, it might get her going, oh wow, but it's much better to use value bait that women respond to, like pre-selection, right? Pre-selection is the idea that you're selected by other women. So women place value on men they think other women want to be with. It's a very simple concept. You probably know this at least on an instinctual level. So I'll give you an example. I had a client who was dating a girl who started telling him how she thought maybe they were better as friends. So I had him join a local hiking group, and of course there were girls in the group, and he made friends with one of the girls. And now when he's talking to the girl he's dating, he's telling her about the hiking group and this girl Michelle who was cool. And now when Saturday rolls around and he's excited to go hiking, guess what happens? The girl who was losing interest in him is suddenly worried that he's going hiking just to talk to this other girl again. And now his value goes up and he gets more of her attention. Women also value fun. So if you're always sending the same boring, generic, how's your day going text, you lose her attention. But if your texts begin to create some emotion in her, make her laugh, make her smile, you get her attention and your value goes up. It's also why the worst thing that you can do when a girl's giving you you mixed signals is to try to have a serious conversation with her about it, because guess what? That's the opposite of fun. Now, flirting and teasing is fun, right? And that's one of the first things that a lot of nice guys get good at. I coach a lot of guys who are really good at that aspect of being attractive. They can be funny, they can be flirty with a girl, but then they still wind up in the friend zone. Why is it, right? Why doesn't this work on its own? Because there's an element of fun that nice guys miss out on. They miss the important truth that one of the biggest qualities of fun is uncertainty. It's not knowing what the outcome is going to be. This uncertainty is what makes a woman chase you. It's if someone is staying within the boundaries of acceptable conversation, talking about PG related topics and being politically correct all the time, they're just not that exciting, right? Nice guys struggle because they seek to conform to a woman's expectations. I talked about this actually in another video about this idea of just being yourself. Well, really what you're doing is you're acting out this nice guy conditioning that so many guys have been programmed with. So you think she wants me to act gentlemanly, and then you try to act that way. And when you do this, you become very, very predictable. It's like watching a movie where you already know the ending. That's boring for a woman. It leaves her nothing to think about. It's, think about sports, right? Sports are fun to watch. It's fun to go to a sports game because you don't really know what's going to happen next. You don't know who's going to win. You don't know who's going to lose. You don't know what the next play is going to be. But think about it if you knew all that in advance, right? Well, that's what a woman is like when she's dating the average nice guy. She knows everything that's going to happen in advance, so it's no longer fun, right? More fun is the guy who just says whatever's on his mind and takes the conversation wherever he feels like going, because it's a little surprising, right? That's a good emotion. Surprise is a fun emotion. You might call this guy a jerk sometimes, but the sexy part of him is not his jerkish behavior. It's simply the fact that he doesn't conform, that she doesn't know what she's going to get from him. He tries to kiss her on the first date. At the end of the date, she doesn't get the text from him saying good night, right? She doesn't know what to expect. She engages with him because it grabs her attention, which makes her place value on him. We all engage more when things if we don't know the outcome. Something is more valuable if it's not predictable, okay? And when something's valuable, we have their attention, and the more we have their attention, the more we get her attraction. That's one of the big reasons why jerks, or whatever you want to call them, very often get a lot of attention and attraction from a woman. Now, to help guys create uncertainty, I created a video where I walk you through a technique I call the scrambler. You can watch that in the description below. I'm going to put a link for that below too, because some guys will say, this sounds like a game. Why are you trying to trick women? And I explained to them that the scrambler is actually really fun for a woman. It's giving her exactly what she wants. It's creating a movie that's exciting for her to watch because she doesn't know the outcome. You're giving her the highs, you're giving her the lows, you're creating expectations, and then you're breaking those expectations. And it helps you become a challenge. Now, another thing women value is masculinity. And this kind of ties back to what I said earlier, that when a woman is testing you, in a lot of ways, she's testing your masculinity. She's testing how easily you are controlled and how easily you are tamed. Because the more masculine you're acting, the more feminine she gets to be. And that's really the role that she wants to play. So taking the more dominant masculine role, leading the vibe, being the one to be a little bit more bold, to take risks with her, that's going to increase your value, get her attention, which will get her attraction. So next, one of the most important things you have to do is stop chasing validation. When a girl's sending mixed signals, we start to chase her validation because we don't get it very often. We chase it. But as I say, when two people get together, one person always tries harder, and the person who tries harder holds less power in the interaction. What's also going on though is something called a validation vacuum, which means if you ask her out on a date or you're meeting up with her, there's this validation vacuum where one of you is going to be trying to get validation. And here's the thing, when a woman is sending mixed signals, the guy very often goes into validation seeking behavior, right? He's trying to get that validation back from the woman. And what's happening by chasing her validation, he's actually chasing her away. Instead, you want her to feel like you're no longer looking to get that validation from her. You've got to create a subtle shift where she's looking to get validation from you again. And again, that's a big part of what I show you how to do in the video where I teach you my scrambler technique. Again, there's a link to that below. Now, all of these things work because these are things that women value, okay? But for some reason as guys, we've been conditioned to believe that if we want to change a girl's mind or increase her attraction, we have to give her flowers, gifts, or compliments, when really what you need to do is increase your value. Saying that, here's an important thing to remember. She has to offer value too, okay? I'm not going to let her off the hook. If she can get your attention without putting in any work or offering any value back, your attention becomes worthless to her. Besides that, you shouldn't want to be with a woman that doesn't bring anything to the table other than her looks. But if I can sum up this entire video, it's change her mood, not her mind. If you're getting mixed signals or hot and cold behavior, take it as a warning sign that she's not fully invested enough in you. And you've got to begin doing things that increase your value so you get more of her attention, because more of her attention means more of her attraction. Whether that's being more fun, more masculine, introducing uncertainty, or getting her to chase your validation, these are the things she values and things that'll change her mind about you way more than confessing your feelings. And if you want a step-by-step plan, again, watch my Scrambler video. I'll put a link below. And as always, if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, leave me a comment, and let me know what you want to see covered next. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future videos.